Good morning, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope. What's going on? Welcome to Dialed In. I'm your host, Kyle Burt, and today we have a very special episode for you guys, a 25-year healthcare IT executive, CIO turned startup founder, Mr. John Ragsdale. We'll be right back after this. Cool. Welcome to the show, John.
Awesome. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So John, you are 25 years in the business, CIO in healthcare. It's big responsibilities. I wanted to give you a chance here to build up some context of who you are and why you're here on the show today.
Nope. Great. So I've been in IT a long time, about 25 years. I've been in Atlanta and Charlotte and Baton Rouge and here in Dallas, Fort Worth for about 8 years. Seen lots of different areas of healthcare. I've got an industrial engineering background, so I've always thought about improving processes and then, of course, leveraging technology to do that. Been a CIO here the last 10 years in healthcare, lots of aspects of healthcare. Been on the governmental side, on the provider side, been in primary care, been in spine care, senior care, eye care. But really, 25 years, long time. I'm really excited about a new opportunity and a new company that I've started.
Awesome. So I got to ask, this new company you started, we're going to get to that, but why on earth did you bring a red toolbox to the show today?
Great question. So, I like to use the analogy of a toolbox. Tools, now we go to Home Depot and Lowe's and buy tools, and we use these tools to build solutions, right? It's not necessarily about the tools, it's about the solution. So when you combine a group of tools, right, you can do some amazing things. So we take the same analogy and we apply it to digital tools, not hardware tools, but I like the analogy. So I've got here my digital tools, right? I can use my keyboard and mouse. But what I like to do in TAP is we really focus on what we call the manual efforts and spreadsheets of clients, right? So what happens in between big systems, larger systems, people create manual efforts and spreadsheets. And we like that analogy, the acronym. If you think about the acronym, manual efforts spreadsheets, MESS, mess. So we're all about eliminating the mess. And so what we do, we take our tools, right, and we eliminate the mess, right? So
what does that say?
It says, what is a mess, right? It's a spreadsheet.
Nice.
So I'm going to take a tool, right, and cut it up, right, and rip up the mess.
Nice.
Right?
I love the visualization there. That's awesome.
But we don't just stick with one tool, right? In technology, there are lots of tools, and so we continually take tools, right, and we're all about drilling and taking away the mess, right? That is so much fun to do. Again, on a digital level.
Right. I love the fact that, so guys, John just made a mess for us to clean up here later, but we made a mess. He just knocked down all these papers on the floor. I mean, the visualization here is epic. So tell me, what was all right, so you're a healthcare CIO, and what happens from all that journey to this point where, hey, I'm going to start a startup where we're going to clean up your mess, as you put it?
The idea behind TAP, the App Place Innovations, right, TAP, really has been formed over 25 years. Again, industrial engineering background. I've always wanted to make myself and my teams more efficient, more effective. And so as a result, I've created over the years, I'll call them unscalable digital tools. A script here, a little Microsoft Access application here, nothing that was really scalable, but I always used those tools to make myself and my teams more efficient and effective. Really hard to get dollars for your own tools as a CIO or an IT leader. Then about 2013, I was a CIO here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, decided to upgrade my tool set. And so I reached out to an offshore developer. We built a digital twin, right? So we built a digital twin of our facility, right? And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a digital twin of our facility. And so we built a brand new digital toolbox, a brand new platform that was mobile, web enabled, and it could do some of the same things, but on a scalable level. And so again, we used it very selfishly as an internal tool for our IT teams to make ticket processing more effective, to make our project management system more effective. Where our big systems fell short, we complemented those with our digital tools. So great solution. But then I happened to be in the board room with my CEO, and they had a business need. And I thought, gosh, we've got a digital toolbox. I bet you I can pull tool number 1, 5, 3, right, to the table, and we can solve your mess, right? So their mess was a spreadsheet. It was preferred imaging centers across the DFW Metroplex. And they were trying to share this information to 500 providers across the Metroplex through a spreadsheet, through email,
wow.
right? Not very effective. And so again,
yeah, definitely.
we reached into the toolbox and created a solution called Care Search, right? Allowed the physicians, their staff to log in to this app, search by zip, search by city, and pull up on a map the preferred imaging centers, right? It was revolutionary for them. They loved it. They still use it today. And then behind the scenes, we kept the analytics of who was clicking what and where, so we can instantly have visibility into what was going on. It was my major first aha moment for TAP, right? Oh, wow, this is really great. This works not only for IT, but also for the business.
So that's really fascinating. So you found that gap, and you found that gap in the marketplace, that need in the marketplace. What would you say, just in summary, like summing it all up, what in those scenarios, what were the main business outcomes that were achieved?
You know, the main business outcomes were, one, they were trying to get information out to a large, disparate group of people that really weren't part of the organization, right? And so to do that, again, they were trying to do that through a spreadsheet, but we created a unified solution that was accessible via, mobile device, web, and so instantly that information was there. The other big thing that was valuable to this organization was that they were trying to get these physicians to follow a certain playbook, and this organization has saved a lot of money in healthcare doing that. And so they had no visibility into what these physicians were doing, but instantly with this Care Search app built on the TAP digital toolbox platform, instantly they could see who was doing what, or better yet, who wasn't doing what, and then they could go spend time with that organization helping them understand why the following the playbook was valuable.
Wow, all right. Well, that's incredible, man. We're going to unpack more of the story. I want to hear more of this for sure. I want to shout out to LinkedIn Live audience out there. Thank you guys so much for joining. 31 of you guys out there. Curry Nichols, what's up, man? First time viewer. Mike Rochelle, Michael Malio, and Anthony. What's going on, Margaret? Hello, good morning. Matt Reed, Ryan. What's going on, everybody? So hey, as we go about this show, we have a packed show for you guys today. We're going to be here for a while, for a little bit. I have 3 copies of the book, The Go-Giver. This is compliments of Kumar, the CEO over there at CloudGenix, SD-WAN provider, a friend of mine. And best 3 questions, put them in the comments now, and as we go through the show, we'll just kind of randomly start picking them out. The easiest way for me to see your question and for John to see it, if you can put like a capital Q first and then what the question is, that would help it stand out. So best 3 questions, and I will mail you a copy of this book. If you've not read it, it's all about basically servant leadership and why you need to be the go-giver. So with that, John, we'll turn the focus back on to TAP. So you gave me this extensive, well-prepared, well-thought out sheet here, and I love it. So you said you had a second aha moment, right? So what was
I
that?
did. So at the first organization, I'll say they were a smaller organization, right? $10, $15 million organization. So we saw where the platform was very valuable there. Well, I left there and went to a larger organization as a CIO in downtown Dallas, a $1 billion organization, 14,000 people at that particular organization. had the same business problems, had the same IT problems. So I decided to rebuild the platform. Didn't steal from the previous organization. We rebuilt it, rebranded it, recoded it. But I knew that our IT team needed a digital toolbox to be efficient and effective. So we rebuilt it in about 6 months. And then I went on a sales pitch to each division within this particular organization. And there were 4 or 5 different divisions, your typical HR, finance, etc. And I took the digital toolbox and basically stated, right, simple statement, tell me about your manual efforts and spreadsheets. Tell me about your mess, right? They're everywhere. Again, we weren't into replacing big systems, but where those big systems fell short, where there are gaps, people create manual efforts, right? And spreadsheets, right? And so we
are you gonna do that a bunch of times?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
We are all about replacing those. And so we found one use case after another. And so the biggest use case we found there was a patient marketing situation. So skilled nursing is one step down from a hospital, right? Patients still have medical needs, but they need a place to receive care. They were handling skilled nursing, receiving patients there in manual efforts and spreadsheets. 20 different ways, 100 different skilled nursing facilities across Texas, costing hours of time and dollars. Within 2 weeks, using our digital toolbox, we put together a solution for $5,000 for 100 buildings to perform this process to receive patients and track the patient referrals, right? The biggest ROI we've seen in a TAP solution was this particular solution. The EMR that they had a similar module that was going to cost $35,000 a month. Jeez. Right? So instead of paying $35,000 a month, we paid $5,000 one time, and we replaced that particular mess. So super amazing solution, aha moment number 2.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. And that leads into aha moment number 3.
Aha moment number 3. So really realized that, okay, this solution, this digital toolbox has some legs. Worked in a small organization, worked in a big organization. The challenge was, right, as a veteran CIO, been in IT a long time, a family, you know, whatnot, I realized that how in the world am I going to sell this? How am I going to start my own company and market this? And so I just happened to be having lunch. This was mid-2017, having lunch with an organization, a vendor that I had worked with for a number of years. And they, out of the blue, asked, hey, have you ever thought about marketing or selling that particular solution that you've built the last couple of years? And I thought, wow, aha moment number 3. If I could partner with an organization that is already networked, already has credibility in the market, well then that would be a great opportunity for us to launch. And that a few months later we launched TAP and in late 17 and built the software and started TAP. So that was aha moment 3 and really helped us kind of visualize how we could grow this company.
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. And I understand you have, I think we were going to save this for later, but why not? I understand you have a big announcement. Are you ready to reveal that, or you want to wait?
I do. No, now's a good time. So again, been in IT a long time, healthcare CIO. I've actually made the decision. We've built the software. We've built the organization. We've got a fractional sales team. We've got 6 solutions, 4 clients. Things are going well, but we need to grow faster. So I have made the decision actually this week to leave my CIO career and step out into the wonderful world of entrepreneurship and lead TAP going forward. So effective Monday, this coming up
Monday.
Monday.
And when did you make this decision?
Well, it's a decision in the making.
It builds up, right? But when, I can relate similar to when I decided to leave AT&T, but when was like the night you woke up in the morning, you're like, today's, yeah.
It was earlier this month, right? I really just felt the urge, the timing was right? I saw where TAP was growing. We've got a couple of really good customers, and I thought, you know what, I need to be full-time. I've been working at about, I'll say 10 to 15 hours after hours on the weekends, but really just not enough. And so earlier this month, I made that decision. So super excited about it.
Wow, man, that's awesome. Congrats. Welcome to the the light side.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the rebellion.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun from here on out.
It is.
Well, I mean, not that it wasn't fun before, but it's now there's more challenges. Now you're wearing every hat instead of one.
You bet. I mean, and there are plenty of challenges. The last thing I would say is I do not have it all figured out. I have a lot of great partners, a lot of great advisors that have helped me get to this point and that will help me go forward.
How would you say that being a CIO, being in IT, in IT, I've never been exactly in IT, but I'm so close to it. In IT, we break everything on purpose so that we can fix it. And I feel like that is a skill set that is just going to be super powerful in like starting your own company. Any thoughts on that?
It is. I think, CIO, the other piece to it is we see the entire business, right? IT supports every department, every staff member, whether they be internal or whether they be external, right? Because everybody uses technology, software, hardware, you name it. And so having that visibility and working with business leaders at the CEO level, the CFO level, the marketing, you name it, all the departments, has been a great experience. And so now, as I launch my own company, I can see what's needed and how to put things together. And again, we've solved business problems in every department, right? And so now applying that in my own company and then helping others solve their messes is super exciting and a great opportunity.
Right. Wow. So what would you say, just some advice for the general masses out there, maybe the masses that are actually involved in IT or, they're climbing up that ladder still, system admin, all the way up to network infrastructure. What would be some words of advice for them as they go about?
It's a great question. If you want to move up in IT, right, I think I was very intentional at leading, participating in every aspect of IT. I started out as a developer, right? I started out as a C plus and a COBOL programmer at Anderson Consulting back in the early 90s. So I saw that. Now I went to the Anderson Consulting, now Accenture School of IT. So I saw all aspects of IT, project management, business analysis, testing, you name it. And so I would encourage folks that want to rise in IT to get experience in each aspect of IT, whether it be infrastructure, hardware, whether it be application, and then all aspects of application support and development from, again, BA, project management, you name it, and then over into business intelligence and reporting. I think when there are 4 pillars that I talk about in IT. You commonly hear people, process, and technology. I actually insert one more letter in there, people, process, information, and technology, because information is really the key piece of IT. It's not about hardware, it's not about a computer, it's not about the software. It's about what you can get out of those pieces of technology, and that is information, right? It becomes actionable, it helps businesses grow, it helps businesses change and morph, and so it's about information. But anyway, going back to your question, getting experience in all aspects of IT, being intentional, getting 1-2 years of experience, and then building on that. At that point, you're ready to be a manager, a director, and if you'd like to be a CIO, then you're well positioned.
Awesome. Yeah, no, you mentioned some really key pieces of information there for people listening. You harped on the fact of information, and I really like that because you see all these people talking about, I'll give you an example, talking about like cybersecurity, and then there's another one, info security, and people are confused, like, are they interchangeable? Are they separate? Are we talking about the same thing here or not?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's all about protecting information. I've been in healthcare a long time, and we're all about protecting patient information, right? It's all the HIPAA compliance, if you've heard of that. But if you're over on the financial side, you're all about protecting people's financial information. That's what it's all about, right? It's the information, and then what you can do with the information is amazing, right? Now it can tell lots of stories, but again, if you can get information in a position and put it in the right people's hands, you can do amazing things.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So a couple of you guys have asked questions. Awesome. Good to see Rusty Kennington out there. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, Rusty, how you doing, man?
Chance, Francis, Margaret. So Curry Nichols has a question. He says, hey, John, do you view cybersecurity budget as a function of IT budget and as a subset? And how important is it to identify policy when protecting privileged credentials / password hygiene? That's a loaded question.
That is a loaded question.
I like it.
I'll start by first saying, yes, cybersecurity is very, very important. Again, as I just stated, we're all about protecting information in whatever business you are, again, whether it's healthcare or finance or whatever. So as a CIO, that was a critical part of our budget, right? And yes, sometimes you have to convince senior leaders that they do need to invest more there. Sometimes you actually have to go through an event, a challenging event, whether it be ransomware or some type of attack, to prove that. You can obviously use somebody else's example of that to convince your senior leaders to invest, but really, really important to invest there. Now, when I look at security, I think of it in really simple terms. Yes, you've got to have policies and procedures, right? And you've got to know how to structure both what the people that are using that technology, the policies and procedures for those, as well as for the IT team, right? Policies and procedures, number one, you got to have those. Now, it's not about policies and procedures, right? Those will collect dust on the shelf if you let them. But so then you've actually got to turn policies and procedures into actionable things. And so I call that the operations steps. And so then you got to look to the users, right? Because they have a responsibility too to protect information, right? So you got to take the policies and procedures, guidelines, weave it into the day-to-day staff steps, weave it also into the day-to-day IT steps, right? And then it becomes a living, breathing, actionable thing. Actually, you bring technology there too, but it's a mixture of things that we manually do as well as technology. And then you can build a wall around your information. Is it going to be perfect? No, right? There are going to be risks and there are going to be challenges. So the last piece is you got to know how to respond when issues do occur or when there are cyber incidents.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Cybersecurity is all about being able to detect it, respond to it, and a lot of times it's about how long that thing's been in there, right?
Absolutely.
How long the thing's been staying in there.
The other piece I'll say is, right, so now some of the tools are becoming more proactive, right? So a lot of the tools are reactive, right? Something happens and you detect it, right? If you can figure out a way to be more proactive, there are a couple of tools that we were using in my previous organization where we would actually go and hunt the infrastructure and hunt the environment for things that might be there. So, if you can figure out how to, yes, be good at the reactive piece, but if you can flip it to proactive, then you can, be more on the offensive versus just on the defensive.
Oh, absolutely. And kind of touching on a buzzword that people like to touch on, AI, artificial intelligence. There's two main practical, super practical use cases I see for AI that are already working now, and that is contact center, and then second is cybersecurity, for sure, without a doubt. What do you think about that?
Hands down agree, right? I think, AI is, and for some it's mature, but it's still in its infancy. And I think one of the challenges is figuring out how to find real application in an organization, and you hit on a couple of areas. I'll touch on the cybersecurity. I think it's really, really important, right? If you can look for the trends and you can look for patterns and then automatically create actions, right, without having a human to sit there and watch it, absolutely can be tremendously valuable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The more you can, I hate to say it, but the more you can automate it, right? Because you have limited budget, limited resources, the team you can hire, and everything else. So the more you can automate, the better.
And the tools are getting better, right? I think between AI and then throw in RPA, right? So AI might detect the patterns, and see what's going on, and then cause a reaction that you can spin up an RPA bot that will do X, Y, and Z, right? You can do amazing things with it.
No, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna show a demo of your of Tap.
Awesome. Good.
In a moment here. We have a couple more questions. I love it, guys. Send us more questions. We love your questions. We want to make this super interactive. So Julie, thank you, Julie. I know you had a question on the post too, but your question is back to aha moment number 2. The scenario of convincing other groups of moving away from massive manual process. Is that the same thing that I've seen in many places? How do you convince them to take on your solutions and processes?
You know, we did it in aha moment number 2. I do it now in our everyday sales discussions. I think having just a simple discussion of tell me about your manual efforts and spreadsheets, or tell me about your biggest spreadsheet that you have, right? Your biggest and baddest spreadsheet, right? And what's funny is every person I've ever talked to with that statement and or question, they have an answer. Oh, you know what? Let me tell you about this spreadsheet that is, 500 columns wide and it's 1 million. Well, what is that? Why do you have that? Or what's the process? Well, we've got these 10 people. Ask those questions, right? Without coming to the table with a solution, right? That's what we do. We want to find out what the problems are. Now, it helps that we've got use cases, historical use cases where we've solved similar things, right? And so that's step 2, right? The first step is tell me about your manual efforts and spreadsheets. Tell me how painful it is, how expensive it is. And then from there, because we've built this tool set, and we're continually adding tool set. By the way, RPA is in our tool set, and I'm talking to some folks.
What is RPA?
Robotic process automation.
Okay.
Right. So think of it as a robot in the technology world that can perform steps, on a screen, on an app.
So different than a chatbot, though, or is it similar?
It's different than a chatbot, but is similar, right? But again, it basically can repeat steps on an app or a web page, and it can use rules, but it can replace a manual effort and perform that process over and over again. But coming back to so once you understand the mess, right, then you reach into the toolbox. Again, if you can show the user, the organization, what you've done in the past with the tools to solve similar problems, it goes a long way. Awesome,
yeah. Quick question for you from Mike Rosado. Thanks, Mike. Is the app place compliant with GDPR?
It's a great question. We haven't gone that far, right? We haven't gone international, right? We're just in the U.S. at the moment.
So no need. Awesome. And then Margaret Boos, I hope I said your last name right. What trade-offs or strategies do you use when building something that can be repurposed for additional clients, parentheses higher ROI, versus getting lost in custom configurations or integrations, lower margin? Something like AI could really require a lot of time to build and deploy, and obviously you want to be able to leverage that investment. Do you turn down things that are clearly one-offs?
lot in there, so I'll see if I can answer most of that question. So we do have that question a lot, right? When we go into organizations and we see a particular mess, right? We do look at our tool set. We look at tools that are out of the box. In fact, there have been some potential customers that we have a conversation with, and they say, hey, we have this need, and we look and say, you know what? We don't want to rebuild that solution. There's a great solution already in the market. We recommend going with that. So we don't always just jump to our tool set. But what we typically find is when we find these messes, there aren't a lot of tools that are out of the box that solve these particular messes. And so that's where our tool set comes in. Our tool set is pre-built, pre-integrated. And so for a custom solution to solve a mess, we get down the path about 60-70%, right? Almost out of the box, and then we add another 30% configurations, integrations, that type of thing. So it's not 100% custom, we just get down the path further. Hopefully I answered her question.
Yeah, no, I think you did. And So I'd like to take this time to, I'm going to show the demo, but I want you guys out there thinking who are watching the show and open this up to you. This is a call-in show, so after we show the demo, I'm going to open up the phone lines and allow you guys to call in. I'm going to change it up though. Instead of like you texting me your number, none of that. Just if you're comfortable with it, type your number right here in the LinkedIn comments, and I will pick one of you guys to call you up. So we'll do that. And without further ado, let me show you the demo. It's like 2 minutes here?
Yeah.
So we'll run through it. You have an interesting taste in music. I love it. The final countdown is going to be playing here in a second. I love this. So here we go.
TAP Admin, the brains of the TAP platform, manages people, group app, data and content security, content publishing permissions, entities, and your company's department, division, region, location hierarchy, TAP page announcements, and more. In addition, TAP Admin plays in between and integrates with your core business on-premise or cloud systems using the TAP Integration Fabric. But wait, there's more. All TAP digital tools are both web and mobile enabled. Check it out.
Cool. Well, John,
Awesome.
You want to unpack what we just saw there?
You know, it's great. Again, our base set of tools, right? The base toolbox, right? We've put together, right? And that was finished last August, right? It's got standard security platform, right? 8 layers. Can add any type of app that that we come up with. We've got a content collaboration, kind of an intranet solution. We've got the ability to communicate with disparate groups of people. We've got all sorts of components in there. I mentioned RPA, I mentioned, I didn't throw in there a task management solution, and we're constantly adding new tools. But that's what you saw there. Everything that we develop renders on web as well as mobile devices, any type of device. So that's the base set of tools that we use when we hear about a mess, and then we reach in and grab the appropriate tools to create a solution.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good explanation. What else? And guys, this is the time of the show. Go ahead and plug your phone number into the live feed here, and we will pick some of you guys to call you up and get you on the show here to talk with us and answer your questions live. Again, if you're just tuning in, we have 3 copies of the book, The Go-Giver, compliments of Kumar, CEO for CloudGenix. So thank you for sending these books. We're going to give these books out to the best questions that we ask and just whoever we randomly pick here. But if you call into the show, that definitely helps your chances of getting a copy of the book. Definitely does. But John, I mean, we talked a lot about TAP. In regards of everything else with your career and how you got here and where you plan to go from this point forward, can you maybe shed some more light, add some more context, and find I know you have tons of value in that head of yours there. Like, how can we unpack that a little bit and pour it out for everybody here?
Yeah, obviously I want to build TAP, and it's less about the the tools themselves. It's really about bringing value to people and organizations. And if you look at the tool set, we're not focused on any particular industry, right? We can touch lots of different industries, so which means we've got a broad range of people that we can touch and affect here in Dallas-Fort Worth, across the country, et cetera. And so, I think another piece that I do want to add, at least here in the near term, is to help them with some CIO, IT, strategic consulting as well, right? I don't think that I can be everything for everybody, but as you noted, I have a lot of experience and a lot of things that I can share, and I love to figure out ways to do that through TAP and through some other areas as well.
Awesome. To that note, is there any particular books, you read books at all?
I do.
Are there any particular books that you've read along your journey getting here that you just continually reference and go back to?
There's one, actually. I just picked it off Audible's, The Success Principles, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody recommended it to me yesterday. So I'm looking forward to reading that, having the right mindset as I lead and start my company, or at least start to take it to the next level. Another one that I read or listened to in Audibles a few years ago is Extreme Ownership, which is an amazing book. And if you haven't read or listened to that one, do so, right? It's all about really just, again, taking ownership, and written by a couple of Navy SEALs and their experience. I'll do a little segue. There's an acronym that I've created for my team that's related to ownership, and the acronym is OTCC: Ownership, Thoroughness, Communication, and Closure. And I use that as values for my teams here over the last 15 some odd years, and just constantly thinking about those and how they apply to our day-to-day work, whatever it is that we do. Again, Extreme Ownership kind of made me think about that, thought I would share that. OTCC: Ownership, Thoroughness, Communication, and Closure. Really key values for any team, but an IT team to be successful.
So OTCC, can you, I think you added enough there, but can you break that down even a little bit further?
Yep.
Like what context would you use that with your team?
Yeah, so in IT, really work in two areas, in tickets, support, and projects, right? And to keep things really simple, I share that with my team. Hey, everything needs to be either in a ticket or a project. Ownership is making sure that whatever it is that someone has asked you to do, right? It could be you walk down the hall and somebody asked you could get an email, whatever, you might think of something, to quickly get that thought, idea, request, need, problem into a ticket or a project. And so owning that means that you're going to get it there quickly. Thoroughness, in IT, there's a big problem there that people will get so distracted with so many different things that they'll just do an average job on a lot of different things. Being thorough means you got to take the problem one step further, right? You need to be thorough. You need to think through the problem, think about being in the other person's shoes. Communication is so critical in any industry, but in IT, because we work with not only our teams, right? You got infrastructure, you got applications, you got this team. You got to be able to communicate across the teams. You got to communicate with the customer. You got to communicate with the vendor. So being good at communication and overly communicate is really, really critical. And then the last piece is closure. Again, IT is known for not bringing closure, right? Oh yeah, I didn't get to that, or whatever. And so just reminding the team to say, hey, bring closure. That make sure that ticket is really, really closed. Make sure that that project that's been going on for 2 or 3 years, don't let it go on for 2 or 3 years. Close it, right? Close this phase, start another phase, so that you bring value.
Nice. I love that. My mind is still processing all of that. OTCC. We're gonna chop. This will be like a nice little 60-second reel that's gonna be blasted on LinkedIn over and over again. But I got one for you. If you had to delete every single app, you have an iPhone or an Android?
iPhone.
Of course, iPhone. Cybersecurity, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yes. So if you had to delete every single app on your phone except for these three, what three would they be?
I'll throw tap in there, right? Just got to go through tap. I'd say my number one app is Waze, right? I'm a Waze fan. I use it every day. Helps me navigate traffic. Lets me know where the policemen are, etc. So that's at the top of my list. The other app that I use all the time is an app for LSU football and sports. It's called Dandy Don, and so it's a blog, and I go on that app every single morning, literally every day. And I'll say the third app is it's not that exciting, but it's Outlook app, and it's at one place to get all my email, from Microsoft. Not exciting, but those are the ones that I use literally every single day.
Nice. Another silly question for you here. Do you use emojis at all?
I do.
What would you say is the number one most used emoji on your phone right now? The one that's at the top left corner.
Thumbs up.
The thumbs up?
I use thumbs up all the time. In fact, if my kids are watching, my wife is watching, they would have chosen that one too.
I love it. And so you're big in 80s music, it seems like.
I am.
Final
yes.
Countdown.
I am.
Yeah. You do some karaoke as well?
I do karaoke, right? And I think I know what you're referring to. Back in March, we did we called it the DFW Karaoke Night with CIOs, and hashtag DKNC. We had to make it social, right? And so that was back in March. We invited a group of CIOs, some vendors to come together, and we actually raised money for STEM education through an organization called Technology Ball. Great time, loved it. And then so now we're going to do a DKNC 2.0 coming up here in a couple of weeks. Again, with some TAP friends, with some folks that work in my current organization, and some vendors. So super excited about that. Right, we'll probably continue that. Right, I love music. Right, brings people together. And then and I'll give a plug to my son's 501c3. It's called Harry's Computers. And we are raising money to help him gather computer parts, and he repurposes those and gives those to charity.
Nice. I love that. You said something when you first came and sat down, and it just kind of like exudes through your personality, which I completely resonate with and vibe with. And just like, we're in IT here, and IT is like this, stereotypical like, the dreaded IT department, right? But you're making it fun. And there's no reason why we can't have fun with it. And
absolutely, you got to make it fun, enjoyable. Even with my teams, right? It's about culture. It's about fun. Yes, we need to work hard, and we need to get results and deliver value for our organizations, whoever we work for. But why not enjoy it along the way, right? With music, with skits, with different things, and people actually become more productive when you throw that element to the mix.
Nice. So Journey or the Beatles?
Journey.
Steve
Perry, yes.
Nice. All right, guys. So we're coming to the conclusion of the show here. Appreciate you guys for being with us this whole time. 57 viewers right now. Thank you so much for giving us your attention this morning. I want to especially thank everyone that's asked questions. Margaret, Julie, Curry, thank you guys so much, and Mike Rosato. Any further questions? This is the last chance. We will definitely stay on here if we have more feedback. I'm going to refresh here because sometimes this does not work, the comments. But anything else while we're closing up here, John? Anything else that that we forgot to say that you wanted to mention?
Good question. I think there's a couple of examples. I didn't necessarily go through those, but one in particular. There's a medical billing company that again just had a mess, right? Had a SharePoint, Excel, Word app that wasn't that. It just wasn't that productive, and so we've simply replaced that with the TAP Toolbox. There's a financial advisor company that was tracking all of their tasks in spreadsheets. We replaced those. Again, just example after example after example. We're just out there again to find the biggest and baddest spreadsheets, right? I think I put in there, if you need an upgrade to your computer with a solid state drive or more RAM so that you can open your Excel spreadsheets, give us a call.
Nice, nice. Guys, I love that. And so the best way that you can contact John and contact TAP, first of all, John's LinkedIn handle is right here on the screen. John on IT. I love it. It's different than a name.
Absolutely.
Right? I can relate with you there. Mine is Catch Kyle, so it's just different than just a name. Plus, there's too many Kyle Burts, and maybe there's too many Johns, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Got to be different.
I get it.
Stand out.
So that's how you can connect with John on LinkedIn here. And then also to connect with TAP, put together this. Let me move this here. Put together this for us. Actually, that was fine there. So this is the best way to contact TAP. You said the number one place is just go to our website.
Go to our website, www.tapinov.com. You'll find all the information. You'll find our social sites out there. You'll get lots of use cases, lots of solutions. Great place to go.
Cool. Well, wrapping up, I got two more questions for you. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received from a mentor or anyone really?
You know, I'll tell a quick little story on this because I was in a position in 2004. I was an IT director, had an opportunity to become their CIO. I didn't get the job. It made me, mad as heck. They brought in a CIO instead who had a lot more experience. I really wanted to leave, and I actually searched for another position, but I didn't get one. But the best thing that happened to me was that I stayed there for 2 years, and I learned from that particular CIO. His name is Jeff. He and I are still friends. He's a great mentor, right? He just coached me on how to be a CIO, and it wasn't any one thing or any one particular piece of advice, but it was a great learning experience to be humbled, right? And to be frustrated that, gosh, I really wanted that position. I knew I could do it, but I needed to be patient and then listen and be mentored by him.
Yeah, patience is very
Absolutely.
critical. Yeah. Often if you feel like you're failing, you're just early.
Yes.
You're just early in the process. That's all it is. You just got to be patient and just trust in it and keep living that truth.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, John, really appreciate having you on. I don't think we have any more questions, and we're perfect. We came right down to the bottom of the hour here to
Awesome.
11. So with that, last chance. Any final words? Any final words?
No, go out there and have a good time. I think IT is challenging. It's a fast-paced world, but go out there and enjoy it. Learn all you can. Talk to advisors. Get a lot of input. But thank you again, Kyle, for inviting me here today. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. Enjoyed talking with you.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Let's end this now.